What if sinners could kill demons to earn redemption? Neon White is a game about assassins, who after being killed in a mission gone wrong, wake up in the afterlife. To stay in heaven, they're forced into a brutal competition. Kill as many demons as you can, as fast as possible. For the player, this means clearing levels as quickly as you can, using weapons that double as movement tools, guns that let you dash, jump, or launch yourself across the map. It's a really cool premise. There's just one problem. The dialogue sounds like this.
Damn, I'm really working up a sweat.
Aw, me too. You're so lucky you don't have big boobs, White. They get it the worst.
You think I don't have things that sweat?
Yeah, that sucks. Which is a shame, because if you can get past the dialogue, there's a story here that's way smarter than it has any right to be. So let me just tell it to you. The game begins in a sea of souls. Your awareness is limited, but there's a sensation of rising, like you're about to surface. Right before you would break through the water, you stop, and slowly begin to sink back down, until someone grabs your hand, yanking you above the surface. With that, you wake up in heaven. You have no memories of your life, just the understanding that you're dead now. Before you can even process that, the believers, these glowing agents of God, explain a few things. You're a sinner, something called a neon. To earn the right to stay, you'll be forced into a competition. Kill demons better than the other neons. As part of that process, a mask is bound to your face, set to explode if you remove it. The masks are a form of insurance. You can't have sinners moving freely through heaven, after all. This is the system. And this is where Neon White begins. With the stakes established, we begin our first set of missions. We are Neon White, title drop, and our starting weapon is a sword. No special effects, no tricks, just a blade. Every mission follows the same basic rule. Kill every demon, if there are any, and reach the goal fast enough. At the start, things are simple. There is a timer at the top of the screen, and if you want to progress, you need to clear levels quickly enough. On Mission 2, the game introduces its main mechanic. Cards. You pick up a machine gun. If you fire it, it works like you'd expect. But if you discard it, it launches a sticky bomb. This can break doors, clear out enemies, and lets you solve problems the sword can't. After a few missions, you meet Neon Yellow.
Yo, White, bro! It's me, Yellow!
Yellow talks to you like you were best friends in life, and he's visibly confused that you don't remember him. Rather than linger on it, he does what any good friend would do. He challenges you to keep up, and immediately runs off. In the next mission, you find a yellow card. Picking it up gives you a handgun, but when you discard it, you can jump in midair. And this is where the game finally makes itself clear. This entire game is built around speedrunning. Not in the kill demons as fast as you can sense like some other games, but literally, the objective is speed. Combat exists only insofar as it gets in the way of going faster. The levels are designed around momentum, tight movement, and shaving nanoseconds off of your time. The game actively pushes you towards that mindset. It does so in a few ways. After you clear a level once, replays can show you faster routes, and it even gives you your own ghost to race against. It's constantly asking, okay, but how do you do this better? Right as you're starting to get the hang of things, you have your next chat with Neon Violet. You and Violet share an enthralling conversation.
You're so lucky you don't have big boobs.
Where you learn that she also knew you in life. Then, the game teaches you something new. You can use the sticky bomb from the machine gun to launch yourself. Bomb jumping. This is where Neon White stops feeling like a movement game with shooting, and starts feeling like a puzzle, with each level having a unique solve. But with this game, Gameplay is the last thing I'll need to sell you on. You unlock new cards, the levels get more complicated, and you're pushed to go faster and faster. If you like this type of game, you'll love Neon White. So let's move the plot forward. Already there's a mystery forming. Why is it that only you don't remember your life before? Your body knows how to move, how to fight, how to use these weapons, but your past is completely blank. And to make things worse, we meet our final friendly Neon, Neon Red. Right away, she seems to hold a grudge against you, but she also implies that maybe you two were more than just friends. Rather than give you answers, she teases, deflects, and runs off. At this point, the pattern is clear. Everyone knew you, everyone remembers, and everyone is choosing not to tell you what happened. After this first stretch of missions, the game opens up its hub world, Heaven itself. This is where everything starts to feel wrong. Between runs, you return here. Neons gather, angels who, for some reason, look like cats, manage your assignments, and towering over all of it are the believers. This is a stereotypical paradise. They have pina coladas, mini golf, spas, you name it. However, none of that is for the neons. This is also where you first see Neon Green. He is the current champion, the neon who wins every year, the one who has a mechanical halo, letting him stay in heaven year-round. Green doesn't just kill demons, he kills other neons. When you finally see him during a sermon, he's calm, detached, untouchable. When he looks at you, he does so with recognition. Over the next few missions, new cards are introduced, and you start seeing other sides of your friends. Yellow is carefree, almost relentlessly upbeat, and genuinely overjoyed that you're here at all. Violet acts cute and innocent, but there's a darker edge that keeps slipping through. She's also openly determined to kill Red, and Red seems remarkably okay with this, constantly dodging Violet's traps and staying weirdly evasive whenever White tries to talk to her. One thing stands out. They have all been through multiple 10 days of judgment before, but for some reason, White never has. Eventually, Violet pulls you aside to deliver a warning. She claims Yellow is going to try and kill you, that behind the happy exterior, he's a known backstabber. White points out the obvious problem with this accusation. Violet is constantly trying to kill Red, so her warning feels off. Violet doesn't care. To help you just that little bit more, she also lets you know about secret weapons supposedly hidden inside of a place called the Old City. Everyone seems to have something to tell you today, as Red warns you to stay away from the Old City. It's Green's domain, and he kills any neon that goes there. Almost immediately after she leaves, your next assignment is a blaring red flag. White decides to completely disregard Red's advice and begs Mikey for the opportunity to go to the city. With Yellow, of course, who also had somebody tell him that there are powerful weapons there. What can go wrong? The Old City is an isolated, heavily demon-infested section of heaven that no one really wants to work in. Yellow is thrilled that you're assigned together. He's excited, loud, and appears genuinely happy to have you around. But Violet's warning lingers. White still has no memories, no idea who he used to be, or who any of these people really are. Yellow seems almost painfully sincere, but it's worth remembering one thing. Every neon is a sinner. As you move through the Old City, Yellow is completely normal. It really feels like you're his best friend, someone he's finally seeing again after years apart. Eventually, you two find a clock tower with mysterious writing. It claims that here lies the Book of Death, and together with the Book of Life, you can reveal the inkhorn on the final day. Inkhorn really just meaning pen, for those who don't speak Old English. Before they can figure out what any of this means, Just as White is finally starting to believe that Violet was wrong, Neon Green appears, not with words but with action, launching an attack straight at White. There's no time to react. Without hesitation, Yellow jumps in the way. And then there's no drawn-out speech or final moment. He dies, impaled by a massive spear. Green mocks you, taunting you, claiming he has big plans for White, and the fight begins. This is the game's first boss fight. You chase Green around, deal damage, ascend to the top of the tower, and then eventually attempt to finish him off. White wins, but Green escapes, seeming almost pleased with the outcome, and nothing will bring Yellow back. This was the moment I really started paying attention to the game. Character death is hard to sell in stories. It's usually dramatic, lingering, designed to wring emotion out of the player. Here it feels abrupt, almost real. Yellow dies instantly. You get no closure, no final words. The only thing you get is something he said earlier, that he was happy to finally be running missions with you again. The loss is only felt through White's anger and the fight that follows, and the game plays that completely straight. At the very least, Green doesn't leave you with nothing. As he escapes, he reveals that his mechanical halo is a page from the Book of Death. From here we can put together a few things. Violet was wrong about Yellow. There's something coming after the 10 days of judgment that requires both the Book of Life and the Book of Death, and the Book of Death is in the Believer's possession. When you return to Central Heaven, the Believers are already spinning a story. They warn about Neon's teaming up, asking if that's really wise when only one can win. They also claim that White killed Yellow, and that Green saw it happen. Violet is thrilled. She thinks you listened to her. But when you correct her, she fixates on one thing you said. Green told you he has big plans for you. That single detail sends her spiraling. She demands to know what Green wants, whether he wants you to win, and why you're special. It escalates fast. You defend Yellow. You point out that she's the one constantly dragging you into trouble. And Violet finally fully drops the act. She promises to kill you, saying you're lucky she doesn't gut you on the spot. And from here on out, you're alone. Yellow is dead, Violet hates you, the other Neons avoid you, and Red is mad that you ignored her warning about the old city. No one is on your side. In the missions that follow, Violet makes good on her threat, filling levels with traps meant to kill you. Ironically, they're kind of helpful. They're traps you can trigger, redirect, and weaponize. It's during this stretch of missions that you manage to apologize to Red. She still gives you a hard time, but after you save her from a swarm of demons, she finally opens up. She tells you she tried to take out Green years ago, and failed. More importantly, the halo Green wears doesn't just grant power, it puts him under the Believer's control. If you keep climbing the ranks and challenge him, best case scenario, you replace him. Worst case, he kills you. Red doesn't want either. Instead, she proposes a different plan. Find the Book of Life. The Believers don't have it. She doesn't fully know what it will lead to. She just knows something is deeply wrong with the judgment system. She's proven right almost immediately. When you return to heaven, the Believers are holding a public execution. A group of Neons committed the grave sin of sneaking into mini-golf without permission. One of the Believers literally yells "4" before detonating their mask.
Holy.
It's treated like a joke. This is how the Believers treat Neons. And more than that, this will be your fate if you're caught looking for the Book of Life. But, as Red puts it, only idiots get caught. Back in the field, Violet continues harassing you, clearly irritated by how close you and Red have become. When you tell her traps are getting predictable, she goes straight for the throat, mocking you for standing there while Yellow died, and threatening to kill Red next. Red doesn't flinch, as Violet runs off. She tells White that Violet was slitting throats and picking locks while most people were learning how to process emotions. and that she's probably just lonely. When White asks what he's supposed to do with that information, Red tells him that he's smart and he'll figure it out. Still, no one will tell you who you all really were in life. Later, when you finally catch up to Violet again, you apologize for how things went down. She responds by claiming Red will stab you in the back. White finally calls her out, pointing out that she can't keep calling everyone else a murderous psycho after trying to kill you for the last 20 missions. That's when she lets something slip. Green isn't just another Neon. He was your old boss, and Violet claims Red is intentionally keeping this from you. Later, White asks Red about it. She lies and says she doesn't know what Violet is talking about. White doesn't press her, but he swears to get to the bottom of it himself. Inevitably, you catch up to Green. This time he actually talks. He tells you exactly where the Book of Life is, Heaven's Edge. Before things can escalate into another fight, Red steps in, and finally the truth comes out. You weren't strangers in life, obviously. White, Red, Yellow, and Violet were a crew of assassins, and Green was both your boss and your father figure. Your last job was to kill someone named Blue, Green's former partner who stabbed him in the back. The mission went wrong. Everyone died. Even Green. But he completed the hit, and he considers that worth it. More than that, according to him, everything you are now, the way you fight, the way you move, the way you survive, that's because of him. He didn't just lead you, he made you. Before you can process that, Green leaves, promising this isn't over. You also finally understand why Red has been so guarded. White was always the favorite. He got the most attention, the most training, and was the best assassin among them. Red was afraid that if you remembered, if you truly knew who you are, you'd side with Green without hesitation. That's why she was keeping things from you. The next day, you both attempt to get assigned to Heaven's Edge. Mikey, your angel handler, refuses. And this matters. Mikey isn't just some random angel. He's been managing your assignments the entire game. He starts out pretty gruff, but eventually, he jokes with you, looks out for you, and treats you like a friend. And that's exactly why he won't send you. He tells you that yes, the competition is a sham, that he knows something is wrong, but he also knows what happens to Neons who push too far. He'd rather see you for 10 days every year than risk you disappearing forever. Of course, you go anyway. You're already a rogue Neon, and it's not like Mikey is going to report you. As long as you're killing demons, you don't really need permission. White and Red head to Heaven's Edge, and when they arrive, they hit a wall. A literal one. A massive glass barrier. It turns out that Heaven is sitting inside of a sphere, a big bubble floating in the Sea of Souls, and the dome was painted to make it look larger than it is. Don't get me wrong, it is big, but it's not nearly as expansive as it looks. Confused, you get your answers from an unlikely source. Mikey. He had a change of heart while sitting alone in the office, and decided to go after you. When he catches up, he finally tells you everything. Heaven wasn't always heaven. It used to be Sheol, far closer to purgatory than somewhere that you would consider an eternal reward. The believers didn't like this. They wanted a paradise, so they made one. They overthrew God, and in the process they slaughtered most of the angels, turning them into the masks that the Neons wear, sparing only those angels who swore loyalty. They seized the Book of Death, but God managed to close his hand around the Book of Life, along with the ink cord needed to write in either book. That's why heaven is unstable. That's why demons keep invading. That's why Judgment Day exists at all. It used to be a 10-day period where those from hell could come in and be judged again to see if they were worthy of forgiveness. Obviously, without God, there cannot be that forgiveness. So instead we have the Neons, who kill the demons instead. The believers don't rule over heaven because they're righteous. They rule it because they conquered it. As Mikey finishes explaining all of this, something clicks. Earlier, White picked up a stray page, a fragment of the Book of Life, and now it's reacting, glowing, and pointing the way towards the book. You don't just know the truth now, you finally have a way to act on it. You and Red make the journey together, with a stalker watching you along the way. This is, of course, Violet. They both know it but don't really mind. Eventually, you do call her out and she joins you. With that, everyone is once more on the same side, and the journey continues. The entire way, the characters bicker and talk, but nothing too important is said, which makes this a really good moment for me to step out of the story for a second and talk about the voice acting. Because this cast is genuinely pretty stacked. Neon White is voiced by Steve Blum. For context, that's Wolverine in basically every animated endgame appearance.
Violet, if you want to join us, you can just ask.
He's also the voice of Tank Dempsey from COD Zombies. And honestly, when the game decides to be serious, Steve Blum kills it in the emotional moments. That's one of the things that first made me really start paying attention to the story.
Creator! Say something that makes sense, damn it!
But it also means that when the dialogue gets weird...
Not this again. Go back to complimenting me. Tell me I'm sexy or something.
I can't tell a baby he's sexy. I'll go to jail.
For the last time, I'm not a baby!
Part of my brain is just hearing Wolverine say this stuff, which can be kind of incredible. Like, thanks to this game, I can now make Wolverine say completely out of character nonsense.
Not too shabby. I must have been a real hardcore guy. You think I don't have things that sweat?
So, yeah, it's not that the voice actors are bad. It's that the dialogue is just like this. Anyway, back to the story. Guided by the page, the journey is almost fun. You and Red traveled together for a while, Violet shadows you from a distance, not as sneaky as she thinks. Eventually you call her out, and she joins you like it was always the plan. For a brief stretch, it almost feels normal. Then White is stabbed in the back. Violet takes the page, and finally drops the act. Or at least tells you what really motivates her. She is in love with Green. She says that everything she's done, the traps, the manipulation, the constant hostility, was an attempt to get his attention. You weren't in her way because you were the best Neon. You were in her way because you were Green's favorite. She takes the page and leaves you bleeding out and disappears. White is dragged back to the hub barely conscious. And that's where things get strange. While you're being treated, while everything is fading in and out, you hear something. Not words. Not really. Smudged symbols, broken runes, noise that shouldn't mean anything. But White understands it.
Where am I?
God is speaking to you and showing you the way forward. When you wake up, rather than being lost, you know exactly where you need to go. The third temple. Before you go, you meet with Mikey again. He can feel the presence of God on you. He also laments about surviving while all of his friends fought and died. From this point on, knowing that God spoke to you, he is fully on your side, even at risk to himself. You and Red make your way to the third temple. Guided by God, and with most of the demons cleared earlier, the path to the temple is short. This mission is unlike anything before it. Instead of a finish line, you're dropped into a massive open structure, fully explorable, with the temple looming in the distance as your clear destination. At the center of the temple is one of God's hands, massive, petrified, and clenched tightly around the Book of Life. As you approach, the hand opens. For reasons we still don't fully understand, God has chosen White. For a brief moment, it feels like you've won. and then Violet springs her trap. The page let her make it here first, and while the hand wouldn't open for her, she made good use of her time. She finally manages to injure Red, stopping you just short of the book. This was her chance to prove herself, to finally matter. She laughs, thrilled that she's about to help Green in a way no one else could. And right on cue, Green arrives. Still under the believer's control, still after the Book of Life, Violet offers it to him.
Worthy, have you, my sweet, sweet girl? Even God himself denied you.
And he cuts her down, calls her an idiot, and turns his attention back to you, the one he really cares about.
You won't be able to say a damn thing with my sword down your throat!
The fight that follows is absolute chaos. You throwing every card and every trick you've learned just to keep up. That giant open mission before now makes sense. It was showing you the battleground between you and Green. As you fight, this time, something finally gives. The mechanical halo shatters, along with the believer's control. This was Green's plan all along. He had complete faith that White would be strong enough to beat him, and at the exact moment White would have killed him, Green used the halo to take the hit instead. For the first time, Green is free, and he is furious. He declares that with both books, he's not going to fix heaven, he's going to rule it. Violet, bleeding out on the ground, hears this, and finally realizes that even this wasn't enough. So she makes a choice, not to save heaven, but just to spite Green. She detonates her mask. The explosion kills her instantly, and scatters the pages of the Book of Life across heaven. With that, Green retreats back to Central Heaven. He storms back to the believers, cutting them down before they can react. He kills most of the remaining Neons in the process, and steals the Book of Death, permanently severing their control. And like that, everything collapses. Heaven descends into chaos, as it's largely left a ghost town, and hope seems completely lost. Even if you can stop Green, you'll never be able to assemble the Book of Life before Judgment Day is over. Except, you're left with a single page of the Book of Life, the one you found earlier, and using it, you gain one final ability, teleportation. It's a long shot, but it might be enough to recover the pages, and stop Green before he destroys heaven entirely. The next set of missions ups the speed to a new level. Any enemy or obstacle you look at, you can instantly teleport to using the Book of Life discard. This lets you fly through sections at a speed that can be genuinely disorienting. The rule of having to kill all the demons is also lifted. Getting the page is all that matters. The competition is over. Now it's about getting your revenge on Green. Once all of the pages are collected, a conversation with Mikey finally gives us some answers. The Sea of Souls is a natural filter. Those who harbor guilt are weighed down by it, failing to rise to the top. The ones who do rise are thus the most likely to be perfect Neons, sinners that are self-centered and unrepentant. What made White different is that he never normally would have been able to rise up. He regretted how he lived his life, and the way that his friends died. He wished he could have been better. We also finally learn why Red was so mad at us. It turns out that we knew that this heist was likely to go wrong. Everyone had a bad feeling about it. Red even asked us to run away with her. But after being implored by Green, White decided to ignore his gut feeling, and instead convinced everyone that taking this final mission was the right choice. It was sold to them as an easy in and out, one final heist to strike it rich, and then they were done with this lifestyle. There should have been little to no guards and just vaults full of cash. Green leaked the operation to Blue. He let him know that there'd be a group of assassins coming for his money. Why? Well, Blue is the type of person who needs to make sure things are done right by being there. And Green knew that. By giving him this warning, he guaranteed that Blue would be there. But he also guaranteed that there would be tons of armed guards and no money to even steal. This is the crux of your regret. You picked Green over your friends. You picked the person who doomed all of you to die. Now the final question is, how is White here? Well, Red has been looking for him since she first started taking part in the 10 Days of Judgment. At first because she was angry. He had a chance to run away with her, but chose to help Green instead. But when she finally saw him in the Sea of Souls, the rage left her. She wasn't willing to let him sink back down after finally seeing him again. And so she took his hand and pulled him into heaven. This is why he had no memories, and also why God can speak to him. The 10 Days of Judgment were originally a time for forgiveness, and White may just be worthy of it. Either way, you now hold the Book of Life, but Green still has the Book of Death, and both of these books are useless without the pen. There's just one more problem, other than Green. The pen isn't inside the spear at all. It's out in the Sea of Souls, and God has no influence outside of the spear. Even if he wants to, he cannot open his hand for White, until Green appears before you with a plan, and a request for his favorite disciple. Rather than going out and fetching God's hand, he figures if a big enough hole is blown into the spear, the hand will be drawn back inside. Green has the audacity to ask you to die for him a second time, to remove your mask and to create the breach that he needs. And if you refuse, he's waited this long. You'll come to your senses eventually, and as long as you both hold a book, neither of you can be forcibly detonated. This choice has to be voluntary. This is also when we get a final reveal. Green wasn't hunting neons for fun like we thought. He was collecting their masks, stacking them above the place where God's other hand waits. One mask may not be enough to break the spear, but dozens? That's a bomb. The stalemate isn't broken by you or Green, but by the one other person in the room, Red. And she's already decided. It has to end here. You try to stop her, you argue, you beg to take her place, but in all of your years together, only one person ever truly matched Green, and it wasn't Red. What follows is brutal. You chase Red through heaven, desperately trying to reach her before she gets to the masks.
Just let me go. Let me do this.
Don't do it.
White! You idiot!
You're faster than ever, and it still isn't enough. By the time you catch up, it's too late. She asks you for one thing.
Promise me you'll give us a better ending this time.
She removes her mask and dies smiling. With Red's sacrifice, everything is finally in place. The explosion tears open the spear. God's other hand is dragged back into heaven, and with it, the inkhorn. The pen is released. This is it. White and Green face each other one last time. This time you have the Book of Life, so the game isn't shy about opening up. You have to break the crystals that shield Green, and then attack him directly. Afterwards, you do a short little parkour section, and then you're back into the fight and have to do the same thing again. It's much easier than the other times that you've faced him, showing how much White has grown. And when it's finally over, White is victorious. You are left standing alone, holding everything. The Book of Life, the Book of Death, and the inkhorn. While Green is down, He's already getting back up to keep fighting. There's only one way to end things for good. You have to write his name into one of the books and banish him from heaven. And the choice is yours. If you haven't done all of the side content to recover all of White's memories, there is only one option. You write Green's name into the Book of Death.
Damn you, White. Give me that pen!
It's already over, Green.
What's happening to me?
It didn't have to be like this, but you just never knew when to quit. It wasn't enough wallowing in your own hell. You had to drag us all down with you. But that ends here. No one else should have to pay the price for the choices you made.
Choice?
Deny it all you want, but you've always had a choice. Every step of the way. And each and every time, you picked annihilation over taking responsibility. Well, I think it's high time you finally paid the price for all the destruction you've wrought.
What have you done, boy?
I gave you the ending you deserve. So long, Green.
At first, he doesn't understand what's happening. Once he does, he understands perfectly well why you did it. He's dragged away, stripped of everything he built himself into, and cast into hell as a demon. It's over. White collapses shortly after, completely spent. After all, no mortal was ever meant to wield these books. Meanwhile, the angels manage to restore God. When God rises, he writes names into the Book of Life. Yellow, violet, red. They're forgiven, granted an eternity of peace. White is left out, not out of cruelty, but because of the choice he made. In the end, just like Green taught him, he chose revenge. It may have been justified, but it was still wrong. There's hope that one day, in another life, he might earn redemption, but for now, he's judged unworthy. But if you did recover all of White's memories, you're given another option, to write Green's name into the Book of Life.
Damn you, White. Give me that pen! What's going on? What have you done?
You told me God wouldn't grant you forgiveness, so I did it instead.
You idiot! I never asked for this!
You didn't have to. I'm done fighting. You are too, even if you won't admit it. It's high time we cut and run. You'd think after so long you'd have finally recognized that.
What do you seek to gain from such a meaningless gesture? It changes nothing. We're all...
Yeah, but I don't need to immolate the past to make my peace with it.
So this is how it ends for me, then. In the light.
Don't sound so disappointed. We had our fun, didn't we?
I half expected we'd go at it forever.
An eternity of you? No, thank you. I'd like to stay out of hell if I can.
What's the difference? You already made it through heaven.
You forgive him, not because he deserves it, but because you're done letting him define you. More than that, Green would never have learned. He was going to keep fighting, keep choosing revenge, forever. By God's criteria, he would never be forgiven. But if God won't forgive him, White will. Unlike the Book of Death ending, Green can't understand this choice. He calls it a pointless gesture, yet he still seems to find his peace. When God is restored, he writes all of your names into the book of life, white included. Every one of you made the right choice in the end, and that's what makes them worth forgiving. And that's Neon White, a game with some of the worst dialogue you've ever heard that tells an incredible story about guilt, forgiveness, and breaking cycles. You know, it's probably obvious, but this game has a pretty big speedrunning community. And I know this because while I was streaming the game trying to get footage for this video, a bunch of the speedrunning community actually joined in and hung out for a bit. They're really cool, and I'd recommend checking them out because I think speedrunning this game is probably the best way to play it. So kind of a different outro this time. I just wanted to thank everyone who came and stopped by, and especially Osiris, who gave me some speedrunning tips like this one. Hey, new best. Jump upstairs, PB. How do I shave 0.5 seconds off? Jump upstairs? Plus 41,000. Alright. 41,000 people don't know to jump up some steps. Alright. Thank you. Hey, that was actually also the red medal, so I guess that was the difference. Jump up steps, new record. And then I did, and yeah, it was a new record, so thank you for that. Seriously though, I was kind of inspired to make this because while the viewership wasn't very high, the amount of people that seemed to watch the entirety of the EDF video was a lot more than normal, and it had some really nice comments, so like, I do read basically all of my comments, and you know, thank you guys so much if you're nice, or even if you just like disagree with me or something that I say, leaving a civil comment where you talk about it, I just really appreciate. That's kinda, I want a community that is willing to argue with me at least a little bit. If you do enjoy this story content where I talk through games, one of the first videos I made where I did this is a 2-hour-long Doom the Dark Ages melee only run. I'd recommend checking that out. I'm proud of it, it was a lot of work, and it didn't really get much traction. So I'd appreciate that, and yeah. There's also the EDF video, the Hollow Knight video, and now this one. Next up, I want to make something about 2XKO. Not a drama video, but there's a design they have in that game that is super cool to me. And yeah. Until next time, see ya.